Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for a draft analysis? This week, the Mickey's Mudkips team review for the VBL season, I don't know, 13 probably, low tier edition. Friends, I'm a big fan of low tier, as you know. I've been pushing for it for a while. And I wasn't thinking I was going to make videos this season, but you pulled my leg with all these great videos. And I had to say something about the team. So without further ado, let's get into it. This season was funky. You can see my highest value Pokemon was Dusknoir, universally hated amongst the players of the VBL, but a Pokemon that I believe in significantly. Because it's got Frisk, as does Alolan Exeggutor. What are we talking about here? We're talking about low tier, baby. I, strategy-wise, generally wanted a good, well-rounded team. I wanted to go for huge value picks, stuff like Houndoom for 4 points, Toxapex for 4, Phalanx for 5, Squawkabilly for 6, Tinkaton for 2, I thought were all really good value. And I wanted to get a well-rounded team. I got a Fairy type, I got a Ground type, I got Trick Room, I got Fast Mode, Slow Mode, 3 Wide Guard users, a couple guys with Frisk, Defiant, Intimidate. Kind of gave myself all the tools that I thought I would want throughout the season. A couple users of the Tailwind, a couple users of Icy Wind, Electro Web, good offenses in the Squawkabilly and the Exeggutor, good defenses in the Toxapex, the Avalugg, the Swampert, the Dusknoir, the Pheasantipity. It's a pretty defensive team, if we're being honest, but I think there's a lot of offensive multipliers as well that can work here. But I think in breaking down this team, something that'll be worth trying out at least is looking at how they all fit together as a beautiful tapestry. These Pokemon were not drafted in a vacuum. They were all planned to work with each other. In a lot of draft analyses, it goes first pick and then next pick to go with it, and then fixing the holes that those guys present or other stuff that I want. But I want to see how these guys all work together because that's how they're going to be on the roster. The whole point of this roster is that it's deep, so might as well explore, plumb the depths, if you will. So, first up in our Greaser gang is Jimmy Hands. Dusknoir, you know him, you love him. Base 100 attack, base 110 base power with no drawback, unless the opponent doesn't have an item, but that in and itself is a W. With Poltergeist, great priority in Shadow Sneak, and a Trick Room setter with Great Bulk. This Pokemon is unbelievably consistent. Ghost types are amazing, being immune to Fake Out and Feint fighting type moves, other moves of that type. Being able to set Trick Room and immune to Fake Out is especially nice. Priority, strong hits, strong bulk, good speed tier for Trick Room. Frisk is an ability I really, really wanted. Just because I really have loved playing with it when I've had it, and I think the idea to know what your opponent is holding is actually incredibly valuable. And, was my last pick, but it's the most expensive thing on the roster, so first thing up. But let's look at how it fits in with the team. First of all, with Phalanx, Ghost and Fighting, classic combo. Phalanx also has Defiant, so if somebody wants to intimidate my Dusknoir, that's going to be a problem for them. Dusknoir creates a mode in Trick Room, obviously, with the Exeggutor setting Trick Room for it as well, so I can do Exeggutor sets Trick Room if I want something like a Choice Bandit or Life Orb, Dusknoir setting off damage, or if I really want to burn something turn 1 with Will-O-Wisp. It also creates that fast mode, the slow mode, which is great for the Avalugg and the Toxapex, who are both really slow Pokemon. It receives great synergy from Squawkabilly, who can come in, boom, Final Gambit away an opponent, or intimidate their Dark or Ghost type that might be hitting Dusknoir super effectively. Or I can use the Tinkaton to Fake Out and then use Feint, Encore, Knockoff, and Helping Hand in the Trick Room. Excuse me. To boost up the power of the Dusknoir. I drafted this Tinkaton for a supportive Fake Out user, and since my Fake Out user is supportive, my speed control options that I'm pairing it with have to be offensive. And I do believe in Dusknoir's offenses, especially when it's paired with the Phalanx for perfect coverage. Plus, if Phalanx is not having a good week, but I'm still scared of Dark types, Pheasantipity is my other kind of number one guy, and Pheasantipity easily covers Dusknoir's worst matchups, which is the Dark types. So that's how the team works well with Dusknoir.
But you'll see that there's other Pokemon that receive support from Dusknoir, obviously in the form of Trick Room and others, as we move on. Next to Maxine the Freak herself. So, Pheasantipity, another core Pokemon. Her strongest connection is, of course, with Swampert. My first two picks being a ground type and a fairy type are an unwallable coverage combo. Pheasantipity is here to be able to offer speed control, get off those poisons, but also it's really bulky, and it's got great setup options in Swords Dance, Calm Mind, and Nasty Plot. So it'll be speed control, it'll be bulk, it'll be offense as well with the fairy moves, and for the Pokemon that would resist the fairy and poison moves, namely steel and poison types, we've got Swampert right there. To additionally pressure the steel types, we have Houndoom and Phalanx as well, who hit them super effectively. So we're hitting steel types on all of their potential weaknesses to really support Maxine the Freak to her fullest. We've also got a little Tinkatuff there. Fake Out into Tailwind, or Fake Out plus Nasty Plot, Fake Out plus Swords Dance, Fake Out plus Calm Mind makes for a devastating combo. Maxine the Freak is very specially bulky, and in combo with Avalugg, we've got a special wall and a physical wall. Avalugg also has Own Tempo, which Pheasantipity supports with Swagger. And then we've got a Squawkability as well. Who's up? Squawkability. People always say that. Squawkability. Squawkability. With Intimidate, that's boosting up the physical bulk on this Pheasantipity. Plus, this Pokemon, being my second fastest, doesn't even need to click Icy Wind or Tailwind because I do have Electroweb coming out from Electrode if I want to use this guy more offensively. So you can see how all these different pieces work together with it. And we'll get into the obvious Toxapex connection in a little bit. Moving on to Big Frankie the Swampert. This guy, once again, lots of connections here. As the aforementioned Pheasantipity, all these blue lines are indicating the Pokemon that can hit grass types for super effective damage. Whether that be Squawkabilly, whether that be Pheasantipity, whether that be Toxapex, whether that be Avalugg with its ice moves, or Houndoom. All those Pokemon are covering those options. We've also, of course, got Intimidate and Pheasantipity's natural bulk comboing with Swampert's bulk, and Swampert is a great user of the move Flip Turn, which will allow Toxapex to get in and out with regen, and Squawkability to get in and out with its Intimidates. Plus, Swampert can go really on either side for speed control. The Pheasantipity and the Electrode and the Squawkabilly can make it go fast at 60 base speed and be an offensive menace in that way, or it can work in Trick Room just as well, underspeeding an opponent's roster with help from the Dusknoir or the Alolan Exeggutor. Plus, we have Defiant for the physical moves on Swampert not getting weakened by Intimidate. Plus, it's the beginning of a very simple Fire, Water, Grass core. You can see the Alolan Exeggutor and the Houndoom both significantly resisting the grass-type moves. Moving on to Long Neck, Short Leg. Wow. Long Neck, Short Legs. Alolan Eggy. This guy combos with a ton of different stuff. First of all, Grass and Dragon, both resisted by Steel. So we've got Houndoom, Swampert, and Phalanx all putting pressure on the Steel types. Also struggles with Dragon types that are faster and can hit it for super effective. And Fairy types, both of which are handled by Maxine the Freak herself. If I want to set up Trick Room, we've got the Tinkatuff and the Squawkabilly for the Final Gambit or the Fake Out, respectively. And if I want to use this Pokemon with a Choice Specs or a Life Orb or something, Dusknoir is here to set up the Trick Room for it. So I can use either of them offensively. Add in the Avalugg and the Toxapex for additional Trick Room abuse. Avalugg being 28 speed, so underspeeding a lot of those base 30s like a Slowbro or a Slowking. And Toxapex being, I believe, base 35, also underspeeding stuff like in the Bronzong speed tier or the 45 that the Alolan Exeggutor and the Dusknoir occupy. Moving on! Flatfuck Finnegan is here. Big Avalugg. Obviously, right off the bat, you can see there's a little Bolt Beam combo with the physical Avalugg ice moves and the special Electrode moves. Electrode can also set up Eerie Impulse and Light Screen to bolster Avalugg's low special defense. Squawkabilly and Pheasantipity, as mentioned, both have access to Swagger for a little own tempo mode with Avalugg, and Avalugg and Pheasantipity make their own mode of Unbreakable on two different sides, depending on what my opponent has out. My special wall and my physical wall. Looking at Swampert and the old Houndoom, they're both good into steel types. Swampert also good into rock types, guys that would be good against Avalugg. Houndoom, helpful against the ghost types. That might be an issue for Avalugg's body press sets with its dark type moves. Plus, Dusknoir can also take care of those types. So you can see all the combos there. Bobby Boom, not as many combos here because this Pokemon is really here to support the others. So the way this whole thing is set up is these are all the Pokemon that can kind of support what Electrode wants to do. But all Electrode wants to do is support its team. So really we're just looking at the Pokemon that can hit guys that resist Electric. Electrode really wants to support the other Pokemon on the team with electric moves and Electro Web, Taunt, Helping Hand, Light Screen, Eerie Impulse, stuff like that. Or maybe on some occasions I'll run Magnet, I'll run Specs, T-Bolt. And then we have Avalugg with ice moves, Swampert with moves to hit, what is it? So resisting electric, is electric, of course. So Swampert with ground moves hits electric types, Avalugg hits grass, dragon, and ground types, Fezandipiti hits dragon types and grass types, and Eggy hits ground and dragon types as well. But moving on, Billy Squawks. This guy wants to do a lot of things. He wants to be supporting the team with Intimidate and Final Gambit, but he also wants to be doing damage. So for that fast mode, we've got Maxine the Freak and Bobby Boom supporting with fast speed control. We've got Dusknoir and Houndoom both pressuring the ghost types that would be resistant to something like a Facade from a Gut set, and Swampert hitting the steel types super effectively that would resist the flying and normal moves. Phalanx obviously also hits those steel types and offers Defiant to prevent Squawkabilly from getting intimidated. Almo, Bob, and Tony. There's a couple other guys, but they don't have names because they don't fit in the Showdown nickname limit. Phalanx is interesting. It offers a lot of support to the team by having Defiant, but it also can set up with no retreat and do a lot on its own. So I can click a little fake out next to Phalanx to allow it to safely set up the no retreat. We've got a couple Pokemon on this team with Psych Up as well that can copy those stat boosts. It's generally going to be in the fast mode, but can also be slow. So we have speed control from Maxine and from Bobby as well. For a fast mode Phalanx, possibly an AV Phalanx. Phalanx is going to be weak to the ghost types that it can't hit too strong. Dusknoir and Houndoom help with those, although it does have knockoff, which is a great buff for it. It's also weak to the fairy types, which Maxine and Toxapex are also going to be able to help out with. So you can see all the different ways the team is working together to support each other. When you're here, your family. Hangman Harry, Houndoom, spamming fast fire type moves, fast dark type moves, Specs, Heat Wave, and the like. So we've got our 3 speed control options here, and Fezandipiti, Billy Squawks, and Bobby Boom, all given the fast speed control. But for the guys that might be resisting its hits, you can see it's part of a Fire, Water, Grass core with the Swampert and the Alolan Eggy. Weak to water, which Eggy and the Electro take care of. Its moves are resisted by Fairy, which Pex and Maxine take care of. Resisted by Fire, which the Swampert can take care of as well. Plus, Tinkertuff is there to give a little fake out next to Houndoom's offensive Nasty Plot setup sets, because it will be fast enough to outspeed a lot of teams. Old Bat Bertha. Here we see the only true, combo that this team has drafted beyond the overall good stuffs of good fast mode, good slow mode, good typings, good bulk, good offenses, good utility, is Merciless plus Toxic Chain. So that's there with Fezandipiti. We've got Swampert, who's going to be covering for the ground types, as well as the Alolan Eggy, that covers for the ground types that are really a thorn in Toxapex's side. Peck's also weak to electric, which Swampert also takes care of. Even though they're both water types, they don't share a weakness, so they both perform quite well. The Electrode is a combo with Toxapex. Yes, I remember why I put that on the sheet. Right. Electrode with Light Screen and Reflect, with Light Screen and Eerie Impulse, I think is what my thought process was, along with Pex. The Intimidate from Squawkabilly certainly is going to help it stay alive if it wants to click Recover and Toxic in that kind of slow game plan. There's also a mode here for sure with the Swampert flip turning out, the Squawkabilly going for Intimidate, and the Tinkatuff pivoting in for Fake Outs with the Regenerator ability. So lots of switching going on with that regen option. And I think finally, Tinkatuff doesn't have its name. Tinkatuff is named. Oh. Switchblade Sue! Holy shit. Switchblade Sue. I can't believe this. Switchblade Sue. As you can see, not being supported by much because this Pokemon is only here to support the rest of the team, obviously. But it is bulkier on the special side, and so a little Squawkabilly action is going to help it. Plus, it's mainly weak to fire types and ground types, and so Swampert helps out with that a lot. But this guy is obviously mainly here for the Mold Breaker Fake Outs and helping hands, encores, feints, knockoffs, that kind of stuff. So, that's the team. You can see all the different ways the Pokemon support each other and how they all fit together. I'm really happy with the kind of cores I have here. The Ground and Fairy core, I think, is really strong, having speed control and bulk among Swampert and Pheasantipity. I think they're well supported by a strong Fairy, Dragon, and Steel core. I have a good defensive core between Avalugg, Swampert, Maxine, Toxapex, Intimidate, Squawkabilly, Dusknoir, and Alolan Eggy. We've got lots of setup options with Final Gambit, Squawkabilly stuff. We got, in my opinion, a really incredible budget Fake Out user. We got an Iron Defense Body Press mode, a really good slow mode with both the special attacker Alolan Exeggutor and the physical attacker Dusknoir, as well as the setup attacker Avalugg and the techie pivot piece Toxapex, who hits harder than you think with Gunk Shot. We got the fast mode with the Electrode, with the Phalanx, with the Pheasantipity, with the Squawkabilly, with the Houndoom taking names, and the Swampert being a flex piece that can go in either mode. But all these guys are bulky enough that they can kind of work together, going in and out of different speed modes. Oftentimes going for the offensive, oftentimes going for the defensive. I think in low tier, these guys are going to benefit a lot from slower paced games with setup options, like the ones that Pheasantipity has, like the ones that the Houndoom and the Avalugg have, as well as the ability to use choice items, like perhaps a Choice Specs Electrode, an Assault Vest on the, maybe like an Adamant Phalanx, a Guts Boost from the Squawkabilly. I've even used Choice Band Swampert to a very good effect throughout history. So that's the team. Thanks for watching, and looking forward to seeing you in Week 1. Adios.